This is FCTV, fan-controlled television. Programs created and produced for the fans, by the fans of fan-controlled sports and entertainment. As always, power to the fans. And now, it's time for the show. Leighton Batiste. I did that voiceover when I had a cold. I did that voiceover when I had a cold, and all I can hear is me with a cold. I'm not too psyched about it. What are you we are 3 weeks away from the NFL season. 3 weeks. Leighton. Three. I can tell Leighton and I are rocking jerseys of our respected teams because the Pittsburgh Steelers are traveling to Atlanta, I believe, or is Atlanta? Yeah, they're going to Atlanta because you're going to the game. They're traveling to Atlanta to play the Falcons. I would imagine Kenny Pickett.
Not great history in that matchup at all.
Nope. I would imagine Kenny Pickett will probably have a few touchdowns early. Kenny Pickett.
I thought he said pickle. I was like, he should do his own line of pickles, though.
That
he should.
Well, Heinz makes pickles, Leighton, and Heinz is they own Pittsburgh. I don't think they own Pittsburgh, but yeah, the fact that it's now Acrisure Stadium and that Heinz didn't sign on, that upset a lot of people in Pittsburgh, and it upset some people.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Here's the worst part, too. That Heinz has an office and a large presence in this Baltimore as well, and nobody likes Baltimore. You can come at me with anything you want. Okay. Without the wire, Baltimore would have gone. It would have been a city would have been dead years ago. Nobody likes Baltimore. We know that.
I should call it the Heinz Cup.
That's compete for not bad. Like we've said before, more pro teams need to have a trophy that they fight for in like regular season matchups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Cowboys and the Giants need to fight for like the ghost of Jerry Jones because he's been dead for years. It's just a robot covered in skin.
Of course.
Everybody knows that. Just
he's like Walt Disney. It's like he's actually dead. I don't think I realized they just decided not to like freeze him. They just turned him into a robot.
It turned him into a robot. They just drape skin on mechanics. Anyway, this is Back to Work. We're here every single Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific. 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm Josh Macuga. That's Leighton Batiste. I'm from Pittsburgh. Leighton's from Atlanta, but we work together in remote parts of the world. I don't actually live in Pittsburgh, but I'm a diehard Steeler fan, and you're never going to take it from me. One of our friends, our very close friends, Leighton, just started working for the Los Angeles/San Diego Chargers. I refuse to call them. Did you see that? Yeah. And I was kind of harassing her a little bit about it. I was like, good luck.
I held off.
Did you? Yeah, I shouldn't have, but you know what? She's such a shit talker that I needed to say something. I needed to say it.
Because her husband is also a Packers fan, and they made a comment about our preseason game against the Bengals, said it was boring. I was like, well, it was a third team. Like, once you get outside of, once the first team was done, it was a boring game. It really was. I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
But screw the Chargers, screw the Saints, and screw the Packers. Like, it's like,
I'm out.
And the Chargers shouldn't have lost to the Saints last night. That actually made me mad.
The Chargers,
but yeah,
man, there's just so many teams that have no soul in this league. They have no soul. The Chargers have no soul.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's no fandom. Nobody cares. Everybody from San Diego just let them leave. It's Jay Spacely. When's wrestling? Yeah. Wrestling is whenever you want it to be. Go wrestle, Jay. Go wrestle. Wrestle something. Wrestle somebody. Challenge somebody to a wrestling match outside of Starbucks. Let's see what happens.
The Discord really tagged me to tell me that WrestleMania was coming up. I was like, why are y'all telling me about aggressive theater? Because that's what it is to me. It's just aggressive theater. We know it's a theater. That doesn't make it any better. Like, it just, okay.
I would love some theater actors on Broadway to really get into wrestling, though. I think so. I mean, let's see them get their ass kicked a little bit.
See, like the cast of Hamilton.
Versus
they do random raps during the during the wrestling match because Lee-Manuel is always going to add one of his little raps to everything he creates.
Little rhapsodies, little rapadappies. You remember when like flash mobs were a thing? That was like the big deal. Remember flash mobs? I think that Slamilton, Freddie Airmail.
That's a good one.
Freddie.
That's a good one.
Notre
really
Dame may not win the
Okay.
national championship this year, but Freddie Airmail has just won the national championship of chat comments thus far in the show. So throw in some chats. We'll take questions all show long. We've got Doug Glosser coming on.
Like a tiny trophy.
Just a little trophy?
Yeah,
It's
like
just
a little trophy, like a little tiny trophy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Queen's Cup's coming up here in about a month, Leighton. Do you know what the Queen's
Which
Cup
one?
is? The Queen's Cup?
The Queen's Cup?
Yeah.
Is it golf?
It's golf. Yeah. It was started in Los Angeles back in 2012 by 3 gentlemen, 1 Canadian, 2 from Pittsburgh, one of them being me and one of them being my dad.
Okay. This is I'm Googling Queen's Cup and I'm getting flowers. Like it's the Clintonia uniflora. I was like, what is this? Okay. Not a real
now
thing.
that the Queen is dead, we cannot change it to the King's Cup because there's an old Canadian $1 bill on the trophy with the Queen's picture on it. But it is a large cup. I've won it twice now, going for my 3rd win this year. Very excited about it.
Nice.
September 23rd, live in Los Angeles, California. No live stream, or not Los Angeles. We're up here in Monterey, California. So it's Jay Spacely. How are we feeling about Ritter now, Lay? The Riddler?
I feel good.
Don't be diddling, just Riddler.
Yeah, I feel really good about him. Yeah, he looked.
Are you lying to yourself?
I'm a season ticket holder.
You lying to yourself? You're lying to yourself. I think.
No, I'm not actually. First off, he looked really good last year's preseason against the Lions, and I was like, why didn't we start him? We gave it to Mariota. He looked really comfortable in that offense. Our offense moved fast. It's just our offensive line kept getting holding calls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had 13 penalties in our preseason
That's not good.
game.
It's not
10 of them were before halftime.
Ooh, that's
Not
a
good at all.
tough look. That's a tough look.
And as I was at the cigar bar last night with my friend who's a Steelers fan, I said I'm going to be interested to watch how our defense plays against Steelers, because if there's any team in the NFL that plays hard in the preseason, it's the Steelers. He says was because there's a lot of roster spots. You know, essentially everyone's fighting for a roster spot. Like, there's something about y'all's culture where no matter what, you're fighting to be a Steeler. So no games off. I was like, all right, well, I'm ready for Thursday. So
is this friend OVO Ghost, and is he currently in chat? Because he says final score prediction for the Thursday
he is in chat. There is.
I say a lot to a little bit. Steelers win. Yeah, OVO Ghost. I would preseason, non-preseason Steelers show up. Yeah.
The fantasy in me says we win 13-10.
13-10.
That's my 13-10.
Good.
Okay, 2017.
2017. I think it's I mean, we almost shut out the Bills this past weekend.
Back to work.
And the Bills should actually feel terrible about themselves.
It wasn't great. It wasn't a great showing, but what are you gonna do? All right, let's okay, my prediction. So you're saying 21-13? Is that what you're saying? Falcons?
2017 Falcons.
20-17 Falcons. I mean, Pickett will probably play the whole first quarter. I think they'll put him in there the whole first quarter. At least 2 drives, maybe 3, if we get 3 in the first half, right? 27-17 Steelers. And I think a lot of the offense, I mean, Calvin Austin seems to be a real breakout star here for my Pittsburgh Steelers in the preseason.
I don't know. Who is that? I don't know.
He's Calvin Austin. He was a draft pick, and the linebacker from Wisconsin, Herbig. Everybody's talking about this dude. I mean, he's Wisconsinian. We do well with Wisconsin. Yeah.
He was a baller at Memphis. Yeah.
For Desmond Ritter, aka D Riddy, formerly Duff Ratty. Freddie Airmail might need to take a timeout after that one, or start collecting his poker chips, because I kind of dig it. Freddie Airmail saying the AFC North this year is the division where I think all 4 teams could make the playoffs. Yeah, we're that good.
I don't think so. I think the team that gets left out is the Browns.
I think so too, but they could make a push. I think the Browns are a 500 team that could get just above 500. Let me ask you this question. If you're a Browns fan and you don't make the playoffs, but you go 9-8, or like 10-7, but you don't make the playoffs, you have a winning record, but you don't make the playoffs based solely on it. Do you keep Kevin? Do you start calling for Stefanski's head? I don't think so. I think the guy's done more in Cleveland than
No,
the last 20
because-
years.
Yeah. What exactly? What standards are you holding him to? It's
You're right.
I think his job is as protected as Salah's job is up in New York with the Jets. I mean, I get it. It's a tall task now because you have Aaron Rodgers, so more people are looking at you. But what can you look at in your past to say, like, what standard are you holding them to?
Right.
What's
If they
the
don't
standard?
make, if the
Jim
Jets
Brown?
don't make the playoffs, what is that?
It's a
What
failure.
happens?
It's got to be offense. It has to. Their defense is ridiculous, so it has to be offense. And I think all blame goes to Aaron Rodgers, especially after catching up on Hard Knocks. All blame needs to go to Aaron Rodgers. It's too much about him. I agree. With
It's an
too
Aaron
much.
Rodgers show. It's just the Aaron Rodgers. It's the Real Housewives of Aaron Rodgers. The whole show
Yes.
is about him.
Yeah.
They
No.
spent
what,
like
what did they do on episode 2? It was like no quarterback focuses as hard as Aaron Rodgers, and it's him picking up grass to throw it in the wind, and then he like starts talking about the whole angles of the wind and how it affects the ball. He's like, the first time I did it was in Green Bay in the winter. I was like, what is this? Why are we talking about this?
a lot of the times he just picks up grass and he rubs it in his hands like he's becoming one with the earth. And if they show me one more no look pass, I'm gonna freak. Does it mean more completions? I don't know. Does it mean possible more interceptions? Probably.
Well, you saw the scene where they're in the quarterback room and they had to guess all of his fakes.
Oh,
It was like this whole 10 minutes. It was like, is it a fake or is it? Yeah.
I'm telling you. My goodness. Okay.
Hard Knocks.
It's Jay Spacey saying getting those calluses ready for the amount of sacks he's about to take. Wow.
Yeah.
AR built his dream roster, and now if the O-line stays healthy, then blame will all be on him. OVO Ghost. Well said.
Yeah.
BC Line, shout
That's
out
true.
to all nearby. I am to the birthplace of quarterback Nathan Rourke. Go Jags. Nathan Rourke is, what does he play for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Is he
Backup.
Trevor Lawrence's backup?
Yeah, has to be.
Where's Gardner Minshew these days? What happened to him?
Don't care. Don't
Why?
care.
Come on, the
Just don't
Minshew?
care. Honestly, you know what? I feel like he's the guy that would have. He has the personality that should have played in the Canadian League, and that's not even a shot at the Canadian League. But I think that his personality would fit perfectly up there.
No, Minshew would fit perfectly in fan-controlled football.
True. What team?
Glacier Boys.
Really?
Or Zappers. Glacier Boys or Zappers.
I was thinking more should have been
Bored
Stars.
Ape? Oh, really?
Him on the Stars would have been cool.
Yeah. BC Lion, Rourke hoping for the third QB spot with the Jags. Okay. Freddie else would have been a perfect Wild Ace. Yeah, Gardner Minshew would have looked good in the Wild Aces. Okay. All right,
that's what I wanted to say, but I didn't know we were referencing them anymore.
We're not. I mean, we should. It's part of the history of the league. You know,
that is true.
It's
true.
Okay. Your 5 takeaways, your top 5 takeaways from the NFL preseason thus far. Do you want to alternate? Do you want to go back and forth, or did you not
alternate? The first one I have is Derek Carr is going to be a mediocre, and I don't know what the hype is. So that's what I've gotten. Although they competed well against the Chargers, you know what you're going to get.
Is this because you hate the Saints, or because this is?
Are we asking these questions? It's a part of my top 5, Josh.
Okay,
it's a part of my top 5.
I'll put it away.
Yeah,
I'll put it away.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders currently. I saw Jimmy G hug it out with Brock Purdy. I don't know. I feel like the Raiders have like a legitimate. There's a competition there for quarterback. It might not be Jimmy G. OVO Ghost says hot take: Tua's still in danger. Tua's never not in danger.
No,
the guy runs toward danger. It's bad. It's not good.
At this point, I'm waiting for his brother to get to the league, and we'll just see what he does.
What's his name?
Talia.
Talia.
Quarterback, Maryland.
Got it. Maryland, another Big Ten team that nobody realizes is in the Big Ten. Okay. My big takeaway thus far, number 5 for me, Tyreek Hill doesn't watch tape. He just plays Madden to scout the other team.
Yes. Yeah. Or he survived his entire football career playing backyard football because that's all he does is
Yeah.
get open. I'm faster than everybody, so why even study a route?
That's why Tua's getting murdered, because he's waiting for Tyreek Hill to get open, and Tyreek
Mhm.
isn't running the routes that are on the play call.
Yeah. You just cracked the code. Yeah. Because at least Patrick Mahomes could scramble and get open and throw the
Shouldn't
ball
Tyreek
around.
Hill, shouldn't Tua just take a 5-step drop or even 7-step drop? I don't care. 11-step drop for all I care. Okay.
Mhm.
Then throw the ball to the middle of the field and then
Yes.
just like Tyreek Hill go chase and get it.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that could just be the playbook, and they might be successful.
Yeah.
It saves him from concussions, and
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically playing 50-yard rugby in the air.
Yes.
Okay. All right. What's your number 4? Number 4.
Sticking in the same division, Bryce
Okay.
Young is going to have a very long season.
In Tennessee.
Panthers do not.
Oh, Panthers.
No.
CJ
Carolina
Stroud's-
doesn't look good.
Carolina's in trouble. Carolina's in a
Yeah.
lot of trouble. I mean,
Yeah.
all of the teams in the NFC South, take this for what it's worth. If you guys don't win the South,
We have a problem. I know.
it's a bad scene. The Panthers stink. The Bucks have nobody at quarterback. No, 0 people. I think that's my number 4 takeaway. Nope. There are number 4 takeaway. There are a lot of quarterbacks in this league, and none of them are playing in Tampa Bay. There are a lot of them. Tampa looks rough. Carolina is, I don't even know if they're really putting together a football team. There's just a bunch of guys that are in jerseys there. At least Atlanta has somewhat of a personality. And New Orleans, you're, like you said, you're putting all your hopes in Derek Carr.
Good luck with that.
You know what
you're
have you ever met? You ever met a couple that has been married to each other more than once? You ever met that couple before? You ever seen that?
What?
Heard of that? Like, I grew up with a family in my hometown, and the mom and dad got married, got divorced, then got married again, then got divorced again, and now are dating. Like, they're just in like a life partnership. So they've been married and divorced twice, but still live together and like have a common law, basically, marriage.
All right. So my number 3 takeaway.
That's Derek Carr. That's Derek Carr.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
You know what
I
really
loved him in Oakland. Oh, we divorced him. Let's bring him to New Orleans. We're gonna love him there. He's gonna get divorced again. Just stop. He's a backup now. He's a backup. No, he's a backup. And he's getting too ripped to be a quarterback. You ever see Tom Brady's body? Tom Brady does not have a great body. He's just kind of like a skinny dad body. He looks like Timothy Oliphant. Okay. Great quarterback. Derek Carr getting too ripped. Ben Roethlisberger was hideous with his shirt off. Great quarterback. You ever seen Trent Dilfer with a shirt off? Rich Gann? Wow. All right, go ahead. What do you got?
Number 3 quarterback. It's in the best interest for the Rams to keep Stetson Bennett on their roster as the number 2.
Wow.
He's a much better quarterback than he was given credit for. So I know he's having some ups and downs in the preseason, but he's going to pan out for the Rams, or he's going to pan out in his career. So
more than Matthew Stafford, you think he's the heir apparent?
No. Well, that's the thing. I don't know if he's going to be the heir apparent for the Rams, but I could see him being somebody's franchise quarterback. But they just got to commit to him. So
got it. Stetson Bennett. I think Stetson Bennett has that winner mentality, and you need that in a quarterback. Maybe he's not on paper the greatest QB, but the dude wins. Something has to be said about a winner.
See, finally, you finally get it. That's how I feel about Ritter.
Okay, here's my third takeaway from the preseason. Anthony Richardson's going to be Rookie of the Year.
You think really?
Anthony Richardson. Yeah, and I personally think that the Colts might be the most like underrated, underheroed, undersung team this year. I think they make a run, and I think they make a run for the AFC South. I think they give Jacksonville a run for their money. I think,
but they still lose to Jacksonville. Okay.
Yeah. I think that the Colts will be the second best team in that division.
That's interesting.
Anthony Richardson. What was the name of that quarterback? Will Levis that everybody passed on?
Yeah. Yeah,
and they thought he was going to go to Indianapolis. I think Indianapolis made the great call. I think Anthony Richardson,
I think so. Okay.
he's going to be a stud. He's going to be a stud. OVO Ghost, who are the Colts receivers? I don't care. Anthony Richardson will find him.
Do it to himself.
Freddie Emerald. Also, Derek Carr didn't play this last game. Doesn't matter. We know what he looks like. We know how he plays.
Yeah.
If you go to
another
team, you don't automatically become another quarterback. The only person that maybe in the last 30 years that has gone to a new team and like has resurrected is last year with Geno Smith. Who knows how it happened, and who knows if it'll happen again? It may never happen again.
That's actually my number 2 takeaway.
Yes.
Yeah.
BC Lions. We had our golf update, Leighton. I'm waiting patiently.
It's coming.
That's coming. It's coming. It's coming. All right, your number 2 takeaway, Leighton.
It's going to sound a lot like your Colts prediction, although there's no rookie of the year on the table. But I think Geno Smith and the Seahawks give the 49ers a serious run for their money in that division. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks win that division. I would not be surprised.
I think the Niners. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that quarterback situation there. If they can't stay healthy, then then Rivers is going to have to have to leave his orphanage and go and play quarterback. That his orphanage just being his house full of children. He's running a group home for like underprivileged youth at this point. My number 2, the Steelers are turning heads, Leighton. The Steelers are turning heads. People are talking. Pickett to Pickens. Everybody coming to this preseason. Do you think he's worth it? Do you know how many people I've played golf with since probably all the time? Since the preseason, since things have started happening, people see my head covers on my golf clubs and say, "Oh, I think Pickett might be the thing. I think you guys have a shot. I think this could be the steal." They're not wrong. The defense is the best defense we've had in maybe 10 years, 8 years, probably since our Super Bowl runs in the early aughts. Okay, late 10s. Okay. I don't know how you work the 10s, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you call them?
I don't know. 2010, 2011, 2012. Like late aughts, early teens, I guess. I don't know how that shit works. But Steelers are turning heads, Leighton. Just wait for the black and yellow. Wait for them. Wait for them. Okay. Jerome Bettis should still be playing football. I'm just saying it right now. Put Jerome Bettis on the field. All right, your number 1 takeaway, Leighton. Your number 1 takeaway from the preseason.
It's a homer takeaway.
Oh God, here we go.
It's a homer.
Although I just homered the shit out of it. So.
Yeah, you did. And I don't know which one. They both deal with running backs. I don't know. Do I talk about Bijan Robinson? Do I talk about Cordero Patterson? I think I'm gonna go with Cordero Patterson. Is that
he's like 70.
I have a fear we're gonna end up trading him before the season.
Cordero?
I think.
What are you gonna get for him? Rita's Italian water ice and some buffalo wings?
Don't know. I mean, if we add some lemon pepper sprinkles to those buffalo wings, then we're good.
Oh, now we're talking.
You see?
Okay.
It's a little Atlanta twist to it. But yeah, I think so. I know he has some soft tissue injury, but the combination
because he's soft.
Algier and okay. But the combination of Algier and Robinson is I don't see where he really fits. And I don't think we need him as a number 2 wide receiver. So
Bijan Robinson.
We might be parting ways.
Absolute stud. And we talked about this earlier. My number 1 takeaway in the preseason is that Hard Knocks has just lost its way. It's just an Aaron Rodgers reality show. I know it's old. I know Hard Knocks has been going for like 20 seasons now. Okay. But I need more of the guys that are on the cut. I need more of the names that we don't know. I don't care about Aaron Rodgers because the entire time is every coach being like, "Oh, I'm so glad we got Rodgers. He is so good." Shut the fuck up. Show me somebody that I don't know. If I see him hugging one more coach that I've never met before, I'm going to lose.
Yeah, I don't know who any of these. Yeah, I don't. Especially the one he was like, "You're a fat ass." I was like, damn.
Yeah.
In front of his own team?
He's a prick.
Yeah.
I think we're saying what we're saying. All right. Let's move on. That's our top 5 preseason takeaways. Before we go to our guest, Leighton, second. Leighton, you saw Blue Beetle this weekend and you got in trouble in the movie theater. Tell the people about it.
All right. It's not a bad movie, but it does have bad acting. It's an extended CW movie. That's how it feels. Okay. The graphics are amazing. So they're I mean, I think DC's graphics got better with the Aquaman movie, so this is how it feels.
They're spending
but
all their
I
time
laughed.
on writing. They're spending all their time on graphics, less on writing and acting, is what you're saying.
Yes. Not until James Gunn and the Superman Legacy movie drops in 2025 will we get good acting. And that excludes the Joaquin Phoenix Joker 2 movie that's coming out next year. That excludes that. I got in trouble because I was laughing while they were crying in the movie because the crying is really bad. It's just bad. Still go see it. It outdrew Barbie in its opening weekend. But yeah, go enjoy it. My entire theater clapped at the movie.
1 out of 5 Beetles. How many Beetles give this? Out of 5 Beetles.
3.8 Beetles. 3.8.
3.8 Beetles. Really? You're trending towards a 4. You laughed at the crying scenes, but you enjoyed this CW of a movie.
I did. It was still enjoyable.
Okay.
George Lopez is the reason why. But go
George
see
Lopez
it. Oh, no. Well, you're not going to see it because you're going to fall asleep in the theater. Never mind.
Yeah, I can't go to theaters anymore. I did. I'll fall asleep. Yeah. Wow. It's Jay Saisley. The TMNT movie is the best movie to drop this year. I've heard great things about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You know what I've heard about this movie? They said that artistically and the storytelling was better than Spider-Verse. And I didn't think I'd ever hear anybody say that any movie this year was better than Spider-Verse. So that's why I kind of want to see it now.
All the Spider-Verse people and all of the animation, I'm sure you're one of them. Everybody they're like the Aaron Rodgers Hard Knocks thing. Like Aaron Rodgers comes out like, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers. Spider-Verse, it didn't even have dialogue. And I'd watch 6 hours of it. Like, I can't.
I'm like that about Batman movies. I'm guilty. I'll be honest.
What, you're just an apologist? Yeah. It doesn't matter the Batman movie. You're just an apologist.
There's not a bad. I will defend the George Clooney Batman movie. I'll defend it. I will. I'll find a way.
Besides the nipples,
you know how bad that movie really was?
It was really bad. Yeah.
It was pretty.
Well, come on, you get the froze. I bring you in, you like you're frozen, man. My wife she's frozen, and the girl with the flowers. And the guy with the bane, you know what I mean? And it gets frozen. My face is covered in ice, but it's more like it's like a sparkle. Now, come on, it's me, Arnold. I'm this freeze guy. No? All right, ladies and gentlemen. didn't like my Arnold. Come on, it's little Arnold frozen, this little guy.
Back to work.
He was so well liked during our draft preview. We haven't talked to him in a very long time, but I think about him often, and mostly what he's thinking and saying as he's watching a lot of this NFL preseason, as he's getting ready for the college season. And I texted him this morning and I said, Bud, you want to come on the show, talk whatever you want to talk about? And he's like, I don't know, with all of the conference realignment, what's the point in college football anymore?
It's the best stuff to talk about.
So here he is, Doug Glosser, attorney at law. Welcome to the show. Wait, I didn't touch him. Doug Glosser, you did it.
Sorry.
Are you muted, Doug? We can't hear you.
They're static. I hear a lot.
They're static. No. Let's get them working.
Man. I realize he's a Steelers fan, right?
He is a Steelers fan, but he's in Atlanta. He's by you in Atlanta.
Y'all are like a virus.
We are a black and yellow bumblebee-like virus. And he's frozen. We got to remove Doug. Bring him back in. The glosser. Okay, I see him moving now. Let's see if we can get him in there. Stop touching him. Let me do it.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, you did. There it is. All right. Nope. Can't hear Doug.
Doug. Sorry. He's probably heard that joke multiple times.
Doug funny. Nope, we have nothing for Doug. He sounded great.
Show name, stop touching him. Stop touching him. I want to do it. Oh.
No.
Hold on. No. Oh, you're on mute. If he unmutes. Yeah.
How about now? Doug.
Can we?
Oh, go ahead.
Boom.
Talk.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. There we go.
What's up, boys?
What's up?
Doug is here.
All right, I don't have the little TikTok one ear pod thing going anymore, so it's just straight speakers.
You're fine. You sound great. You sound fantastic. You're perfect.
Oh, good. You guys, you look well. It's great to see everybody. Happy football.
Right? We're here.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to the game this weekend, Doug?
I will be there. We'll get
Leighton, you and Doug should meet.
Would love to. Leighton, we'll see it. We'll figure it out after this. We'll talk. We'll figure it out. I'm buying the $9 seats and moving all the way down. So come find me right behind Patrick Peterson, asking if he can be our fourth at the Manor.
We'll have enough fans there for you to not be able to move down.
I don't know about that.
We love it.
I think.
Did you see the attendance at the Chargers game last night? Cool. That looked like a Pirates game. That was brutal. That was terrible.
It's tough, but I know you guys. I was listening to the show a little bit earlier, and I know you guys were kind of ragging on them. It's funny. I think maybe I might be the only person that finds them interesting this season.
Wow, Doug, go on.
You are the only one.
I am. It's funny because I was watching they had the Chargers Jaguars playoff game on NFL Network, the replay from last season the other day. And probably one of the most exciting games from last year. And I got to thinking about both of these teams, and I was like, you know what? It's kind of it's a very big year for both teams. Herbert just got paid. Lawrence is about to get paid, and we really haven't seen too much of the upward trajectory. I mean, they're good, right? And I think Lawrence is definitely taking a lot of the upward trajectory towards the last season or the end of last season, and certainly in the playoff game there. But I think it's fair to say many people expected more out of him. And then certainly with what Herbert showed early in his career and with what Brandon Staley showed his first year, you thought, oh, this is a genius coach and everything like that. And it didn't go that way in year two. So I'm thinking, this is an interesting team to me. You know, they're very prone to getting lost in the AFC shuffle. There's a lot of teams like our Steelers that are ascending. Are the Jaguars ascending? Are the Jaguars ascending enough? Can anybody really catch Kansas City here? So I'm very interested to see what the Chargers could do, because they're always that they have so much talent and this and that and everything else. But I think if they don't perform, Staley could lose his job. Similarly, if Trevor Lawrence doesn't take that next step with the Jaguars, some people might be thinking, well, Doug Peterson's not on the hot seat, but is he the right coach? You know, he obviously had that fallback year after winning the Super Bowl. So, you know, he's certainly not prone to having a little fire under his seat as well. So I actually think both of those teams are pretty interesting, just in terms of ones that people aren't talking about a lot. There's something to be, to consider with both.
At what point do we call Trevor Lawrence a bust? Like, if in 3 years they still haven't even made an AFC championship game, is he a bust?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. So not like a bust in terms of, is he good or is he not good, but he's certainly good. But is he a bust in terms of he was the number one player his entire life? He comes in, he does all these wonderful things at Clemson. He's supposed to come in. And I think everybody understands, like, look, if you're not going to completely turn the franchise around in 1 year, that's fine. But like you said, at some point in time, we need to be having a conversation about him as not just one of like the 5 or 6 best quarterbacks in the AFC, but maybe one of like the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in the league. Because to me, that's what he was supposed to be, right? So relatively speaking, could you say that Trevor Lawrence was a bust in the sense that he has not lived up to the expectations, or wouldn't, in like you said, if he doesn't get it at least to an AFC championship in the next 3 years? Because guess who did? Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles got to an AFC championship with that franchise. So if Trevor Lawrence can't do it, then you get tagged with things like, oh, you just can't get it done or something.
Yeah, agreed. We have a new Steeler fan. She's not wearing her gear, but she's pumped about the season. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Huge Steeler fan. Rosie, tell them, what do you think? Do you think the Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl this year? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that would make Daddy very happy and stop him
very
from
happy
yelling at TV this year, wouldn't it?
That was so scripted. Y'all practice that, didn't you, John?
It's so scripted. All right, you want to say bye to everybody?
Bye.
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 Love you. I know. No, I'm going to finish my show and then I'll see you in a little bit. Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. We had just a little, a miniature intruder. She's pumped for the
Just a
Steelers.
word from the sponsors.
Just a word from the sponsor. All right, Doug, you said something. You said something pretty interesting on our text thread about these NIL deals. Can you go? I mean, as a lawyer, can you go a little into your thoughts on everything in the NIL world?
Yeah. So, Leighton, who's your college football team, if you have one?
LSU.
Okay, great.
LSU.
So that's why you love realignment, Josh. I know you're a Penn State guy, so both of you guys are in the last two conferences that matter, right? I'm a Syracuse fan, so I don't matter anymore. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, you could argue maybe I never mattered, but I definitely don't matter anymore. So college football is definitely still fun for you guys. And it's a bummer for me because, like I said, if you're not in one of those conferences, it's just immaterial at this point. And if you think that some of those teams like Maryland, Josh, like you said, these random teams are Rutgers who aren't pulling their weight. If you don't think that they can't get kicked out here eventually, you're fooling yourself, Yeah. But the thing that I thought was interesting, and this one under a lot of people's radar, is NIL is a big thing. We all know about that. We all know, hey, kids can get paid from the car dealership or, drive around a Lamborghini like Bijan was in Texas for a year, all this cool stuff. But the thing that was interesting was last week, the number 3 player in the entire country committed to Missouri. And to pull my Brian Windhorst, why is that interesting? Why does that matter? Why did that happen? So it's interesting because not only is he an outstanding player, Williams Nawari, I'm sorry if I'm saying his last name wrong, but the top defensive end supposed to be like this freaking nature pass rusher. Okay, he's from Missouri and he's committed to the Tigers. Well, the big reason behind that is because Missouri the state of Missouri just passed a first of its kind NIL legislation. And Williams basically took advantage of this and kind of flipped what everyone thought was going to be a surefire commitment to Oklahoma back to Missouri at the last minute, right after this law got signed. And it says that once a player has committed or signed with an in-state university, they are allowed to use that university's name, image, likeness, their logos to promote themselves, seek their own sponsorship deals, and start getting paid as soon as they are in high school, provided, once again, you have signed with an in-state university. And how many big in-state universities are there in the state of Missouri? One. There's one. So I did a little bit of research. Not only is Williams the number 1 player in the state of Missouri and one of the top players in the country, there has not been a number 1 player in the state of Missouri that signed with the Tigers since 2012. That was Dorial Green Beckham. People may remember him. He was the number 1 kid in the country, got drafted by the Eagles or the Titans, played for the Eagles. Nothing ever worked out with him, whatever. Since that time, there has been 1 player in the state of Missouri that signed with the Tigers as the number 1 player. Any guesses? He's still in the league right now. Any guesses?
Drew Lock? No.
You got it.
Terrible.
Drew Lock.
Oh, it was Drew Lock.
Drew Lock. Very good, Leighton. Very good.
Yes.
5 house points to Gryffindor. Okay. Since that time, we have seen players like Ezekiel Elliott leave the Show Me State. We have seen Jamison Williams leave. There have been players that have signed with Kansas State as the number 1 player in the country. And the legislatures from Missouri said no more. And not only that, they give all these other rights to the coaches to be able to attend these meetings with the kids while they're still in high school. And it's all if you sign only with an in-state program. So they have said, Georgia coming in and taking the number 1 kid, Ohio State coming in. We're not doing that anymore. And I'm wondering if we're going to see other states start doing something like that, maybe as a way to try to combat, so like I said, Syracuse, maybe Syracuse signs a thing like that. And now you say, okay, all these kids that are basketball players in New York City,
go play.
Rutgers may be a stone's throw away, but UConn may be a hop, skip, and a jump, but you can't sign a deal with them unless you're deciding to give up all this money in advance that Syracuse could give you. Very interesting.
I mean, how many
Major.
PA recruits? How many PA recruits do we lose to Michigan and Ohio State? And I mean, like, there were some huge names in Pennsylvania that have gone elsewhere.
Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly.
Pennsylvania.
So
Woo-hoo!
I'm sure Nick Saban over his oatmeal cream pies in the morning is just penning legislation. Like, if you sign with Auburn, not only does your dad get fired from his job, but you also have to pay $5,000 to the state compensation fund. Whereas if you sign with Alabama, there is $25,000 inside this Lamborghini, which we can give you as a high school sophomore. Oh, I'm sure he's penning all that right now. It's going to be done. So that's something that I thought flew under the radar that a lot of people really should have been paying more attention to.
Wow, Doug, see that? Okay.
Is there a way to combat that legally? Like, is there anything the NCAA or anybody can do to say, hey, you know,
NCAA,
we can't allow this to happen? Because
not from the NCAA's perspective, because that was written by the state of Missouri. So that's just only in Missouri, you know, and they I don't know if they put it on a ballot or anything else like that, but it got signed into law by the governor. And then, of course, the Missouri head football coach is sitting in the front row and he's clapping. You can see him. And he's like got his little visor on and everything. I'm like, this is a courthouse. Like, take your visor off. And like, it's not anything that's necessarily unconstitutional. I mean, if somebody, I suppose the challenge would be if they thought this was otherwise like restricting these kids' rights to earn like a living wage or something, you know, kind of the same like challenge that people have brought over like the NFL draft age and everything like that. But you know, I don't see anything because it's not the federal government hasn't spoken on anything like this. So you're not conflicting with any federal law because you can make, you know, you can do whatever you want basically, provided it's not conflicting with federal law or, you know, you're making laws over illegal stuff or anything else like that. But I haven't heard any other kind of coaches comment on anything like that, but I have to imagine that with, you know, anybody in the SEC trying to do any little thing that they can just to get an edge, that there's going to be more states that are probably going to be hearing from their head football coach going, you know, look what's going on in Missouri. And they just got the number 3 kid in the country to say, screw it. Here's my routing number. I'll start those checks right now. I'm not waiting to sign with Oklahoma and then see, you know, what Dick Casey car dealership might be able to offer me down the road. So
Freddie Arrow making some points in the chat, like some of these other states might not do it because there's multiple FBS schools in the state.
True. Great point.
I wonder if like some states might do it just for like a public university. Like, hey, Pitt is a private school, but Penn State is a, you know, it's a public university. So there's like ways around this legislation to really put it in Penn State's favor. You know, like
that is a great point. Yeah. So I think obviously, big part of the reason why it works is and why they did it is because there is only the one school.
Yes. Yeah.
Doug,
let's stay on college football for a hot second. You're way too early. No games have been played. Who makes the playoffs in college football? Who's your 4?
I think it's pretty easy to say Alabama and Georgia, I think, are still going to do it. And it's interesting because they both are starting new quarterbacks this year. Georgia just named theirs, Carson Beck, who's been sitting there for a little bit.
He's a weird looking dude.
Same area that Mac Jones is. I think he's kind of like Mac Jonesy. Alabama hasn't named their starter yet, but they got some pretty decent options. You know, Buckner that transferred in seems to be slipping in that, but he's got some experience. I like Ty Simpson, who's the Tennessee Martin head coach's son, who's playing at Alabama. So, you know, he knows what he's doing under center. So I'll take those 2. You know, I want to say that Michigan is going to screw it up somehow and maybe not, you know, trip up along the way somewhere, but they have a lot of talent coming back, especially on both sides of the line.
Okay.
So it's hard to kind of bet against them. They got an experienced quarterback. You know, a lot of people are talking about McCarthy as like a top 15 pick or something like that. I don't know about that right now. I think he's kind of getting that because he's the quarterback of Michigan. And they're supposed to be good. So we'll see. But I think if they don't perform to expectation, he's going to shoulder a lot of the blame for that. So for right now, I will take them. And then let's see. TCU was kind of a wild card last year. So let's think who could be a wild card again this year. Maybe not a wild card, but I will say that the USC Trojans finally get over the hump. And the defense plays just well enough. They got the best player in the country in Caleb Williams, probably the best offense in the country in terms of the guys that they're bringing back. And again, just by having Caleb Williams. So I think the defense, even though their coordinator, Alex Grinch, is like so bad. I mean, like laughably bad. Like,
is he better than Matt Canada? Who's worse, he or Canada?
You know what? I'll say Grinch, because at least Matt Canada at some point in time in college has shown himself to be a competent coordinator. This guy, at no point in time, except this one like stretch of a season during Washington State, like 8 years ago, they had a pretty decent defense, and it's only because they were giving up like 28 points a game, and everyone thought they were giving up 40. And I was like, oh my God, Alex Grinch, he's getting these 2-stars to like stay in these games. And since then, this guy, what a ski mask all-star he is, because he has just like failed his way. Yeah. Oh my God. He's robbed Oklahoma for money. He's robbed Ohio State for money. He's robbing USC for money. And I'm sure at some point in time, he's going to rob an NFL team for money. And this guy is so freaking terrible. But anyways, I think that they're going to do just enough to be able to make the playoffs.
Okay. Grinch is a very fitting name for this gentleman then. Huh, Doug?
I know. You couldn't make it up any better for him.
All right, before we let you go, our good buddy BC Lion in the chat says, does Doug have a word or two on the Canadian Football League? Have enjoyed his comments as a first-time viewer. Yeah, Doug, getting a new fan in BC Lion.
Listen, I am a fan of Canadian football. And I think the reason, because there's a lot I think that the NFL can take from Canadian football in terms of how they view and how they play offense. Okay. If you kind of view it in the sense that it's like 3-down football, like you have, or, just 3 downs, I think some team or a smart offense can do more to be more productive in early downs, right? And stay out of these sticks. So I like Canadian football, especially because anytime you can get somebody that wants to continue to try to play the game, I'm always for if there's a league for them. And especially because there's a lot of good players that are coming out of Canada. You see that a lot of these guys going down to this school in Florida called CIA. It's this Clearwater International Academy. So they've been producing a lot of guys, just like they have been in basketball. I distinctly remember this kid, Josh Palmer, who's on the Chargers now, was committed to Syracuse. He was a find that we had out of Canada. And then he flipped to Tennessee. And Leighton, Matthew Bergeron, another Canadian here. Yeah. So the Canadians are starting to take over a little bit, just like they did in basketball. So there's a lot of good players coming out of Canada, and maybe it's going to affect the CFL because we're going to see more of them in the NFL.
There you go. Doug Glosser. Okay, Doug, final question. Obviously, your prediction for this Thursday when the Steelers come to Atlanta, what's the final score?
I don't want to hear this.
Well, no, because I don't think that Kenny and them are going to play as long as you guys think. Because we put such a whooping on the Bills. I mean, that was embarrassing. But I think that altered the plan a little bit to this point that they weren't going to play at all before. So I think maybe like 1 or 2 series. And let's see, if Kenny's in for 2 series, that gives us 14-0. And then Mason comes in at some point. So that's when it goes to 27-14 the other way. Okay. Even though Mason's been all right. I shouldn't do that. Poor Mace. I say that the Falcons, the Falcons third stringers who are already employed by the owner of Home Depot for the Falcons and then will be employed by him in the actual Home Depot in about a week. I think those guys beat up on the Steelers' 84 lumber workers. I think the Falcons will win 24-17.
24-17 Falcons.
That's it. That's it. That's good because, Josh, right now, vibes are too good. If there's
Too
such
good.
a thing, vibes are too good right now.
I know.
So
I know.
if our backups can take a humbling beatdown on behalf of our starters, so that Coach T's got something to yell about,
I'll
it's
give you all
perfect.
that.
Yeah, the standard is the standard. Leighton, Doug, 30 seconds on Desmond Ritter. Is he any good? Leighton needs this to go to sleep
I
tonight.
love Desmond Ritter. I love
Thank
Desmond
you.
Ritter. There was one point in time where I was like, he was the best. He was the best quarterback in that draft class, and then it flipped to Kenny, obviously. But in terms of what you need between the head, I think between the years, I think he's got it. He needs to work on not getting sped up, playing on time, playing with rhythm, and playing with pace. So when the bullets start flying, trust your arm. His mechanics seem to have improved, and that seems to have helped improve his ball placement a little bit. So that's all you can ask for. The arrow, you just want to keep getting better. So why wouldn't I believe in Desmond Ritter? And especially if they get everything figured out around him. Like you said, Lindstrom had 2 holds in the last game. He had 1 hold in his career leading up to this. He had 2 holds in a preseason game. So I think if they figure some of that stuff out, and like Leighton said, they almost got too many weapons at this point in time. They may need to condense it just to kind of make it an easier game plan. There's no reason not to think that he can at least be somewhat successful. And then it shapes up for a big year 3 to see, is he the guy or is he not? But as long as you keep getting better, that's all you can ask for.
Desmond Ritter, Pittsburgh Steelers, the one, the only Doug Glosser, the absolute legend. Doug, I'll see you in a couple weeks. And then let's bring you on like maybe every few weeks during the season, get your thoughts, all that kind of stuff. And after week 1, when the Steelers, take it in our home opener, just, really just put it on the
Can I give you one last betting thing on that?
Yeah, give it to me.
I texted to your cousin George.
Okay.
There's been 13,000 bets placed on the San Francisco Steelers game.
Okay.
Less than 10% of that money is on the Niners, even though a vast majority of the tickets are for the Niners. What's that tell you?
Oh, wow. Okay.
They know.
That's interesting.
They know, Leighton. They know.
We're coming.
They know.
We're coming.
Stairway to 7, baby. Let's go. Doug Glosser, thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, boys.
That was good.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well,
Steelers question. What is y'all's phrase as Steelers friends? Like, we have Rise Up. Here we go, Steelers. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. We have a song. They change the lyrics every year to add new players and take players out. I'll send you I think it started in like 1992. Maybe they wrote the song. There's a rapper that made this incredible song. There's a Pittsburgh polka, but yeah, it's Here We Go. It's just Here We Go.
So when the Bengals came into our stadium, they're Who Dey.
Yeah.
But we're used to the Saints Who Dat. So the minute they opened their mouths and said Who Dey, I was a proud Falcons fan because the entire escalator turned around and basically told them without saying it, shut the up.
Yeah.
Because we're not used to that. We're like, why would you say that? So I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Steelers are going to travel. I guarantee there's going to be a lot of Steelers fans in that stadium on Thursday.
It's going to be deep.
Yeah,
it's going to be deep.
All right, before we go, we talked a lot of college football, so we're going to save Leighton's college football preview till next week. We'll bring on Freddie Airmail to talk some more college football because we're running tight on time. But this past weekend, Leighton played some golf with his father-in-law and his soon-to-be brother-in-law or future father-in-law, and you got your father-in-law stopped after 9. You and your future brother-in-law kept going, played all 18, and he made you take a shot of what on the course?
Well, I chose to get a Tanqueray shooter.
Yeah, but you wanted a fireball, correct?
I wanted a fireball. I wanted a fireball, and then he and the cart girl bullied me, and I backed down, and I chose Tanqueray. Terrible decision. Terrible decision.
Gin in hot weather.
I felt good. I had my best hit though. I had my best hit
after the shot. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. My brother and I talk a lot about this, and his friend introduced me to this, and I always have multiple flasks of bourbon in my bag. We'll usually have like a tall beer every few holes, and I call it the parabola, Leighton, right? You want to get on the parabola. is you want to be just buzzed enough that that you're calm. You need to calm your nerves on a golf course. You don't want to be too nervous. You don't want to be too fidgety on the golf course, but you don't want to get too drunk that you're on this side of the parabola, that you are now losing control. You can't really see that well. Your balance isn't great. Your timing isn't great. And so you got to be careful with the perfect amount of shooters, beers, maybe cigarettes, maybe chewing tobacco, maybe weed. Maybe you want to, like, if you're going to smoke a joint on the course, or maybe take like a bit of an edible, make sure you take like one little puff. Just get on the first part of the parabola. Because I saw J.R. Smith smoke about 600 like joints on a golf course, and he smoked weed the whole time. And by the end there, I was taking his money, Leighton. I took a lot of J.R. Smith's money. And did he pay me? He didn't. He did not pay me. J.R. Smith owes me about $600, and that's that. What are you going to do? I will say a shout out to Victor Hovland for winning the BMW Championship in Chicago. Leighton, he shoots a final round 61, breaks the course record, shoots a 28 on the back nine. You can't even do that in mini golf. Okay? And that's a score for Victor Hovland. And a shout out to Leighton, who was slowly but surely picking up the game of golf. When fan controlled football season 3 starts, fan controlled hoops, and we're back together again on the often. You bring your clubs everywhere you go, all of the time. Never be without your clubs.
It's going to stay in my trunk.
Yes,
it's going to stay in my trunk. Because it fits perfectly, by the way.
Fits perfectly. As golf, most cars are built for golf clubs. They measure them out. They're like, do golf clubs fit in here? Great, that's what we need.
Yeah.
2 pieces of advice, Leighton, from a seasoned golfer. 1, always travel with your clubs, no matter where you go. Okay. 2, wear golf shoes as your everyday shoes, just in case you're close to a golf course and you have a few minutes. Run to the range, play a few holes. You got your clubs in the backyard. Always be ready to play. Always be ready to play.
That's kind of how hoopers are. Like hoopers always have a ball and a pair of shoes in the trunk.
Correct.
Always. Okay. Great advice.
Leighton Batiste, Josh Macuga. This is Back to Work. Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment. Some big news coming up. The app will be dropping relatively soon, so keep your eye on that. We've had some big news in the basketball world. We've had some big news in the football world. We've had some big news in the golf world. All announcements coming soon. The Fan Controlled Show this Thursday, 2:30 p.m. live. We're here every Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. At Josh Macuga, at Fan Controlled Lay. Follow us at Fan Controlled Sports, at Fan Controlled. Depending on the social media, you're going to find us at YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, MySpace, Friendster. You got any other ones? Telegram, Venmo. I don't know. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. Thanks, everybody in chat. Freddie, Airmail, OVO, Ghost. Good luck this weekend. Go Steelers. Take your Steeler passion to Atlanta. Let them have it. Thank you all so much for being awesome. We appreciate you. Zanga. It's a new social media, I think. Bumble. What do you got? Hitch, Hinge, Christian Mingle, Farmers Only. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Josh Macuga for Leighton Batiste. Stay safe out there. And as always, power to the fans.
Thank you, fans, for watching Back to Work with Leighton Batiste and Josh Macuga on the Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel. If you liked this video, you can check out other videos right here. You can subscribe to the channel, tell all your friends, hit like buttons across all the videos, check out all of our shorts and live shows, and as always, power to the fans.